What's up? This is Hoppe Hour. I am your host, Ryan Hoppe, and from the nationally syndicated Woody Morning Show out of Los Angeles on Alt 98.7, Sebas, the executive producer and co-host, is on the show. What's up, man?
What is up, Ryan Hoppe? It's a very big pleasure to be here. I'm glad to grace the airwaves where so many of my colleagues have been before. It's a very big honor.
Dude, I'm really glad to get you on because you're quite possibly my favorite person on there because everybody else is cool as hell, but you're just very different as a person, but you don't let that get to your head. Like, you know you're kind of weird, but it's in like a good way. That's what makes you Sebas. You know what I mean?
Thank you, Hoppe. And I would say you seem to embrace a little bit of that yourself as far as understanding that you may be, not quite normal, but dealing with it, not, worrying about it and crying about it and fretting about it.
It's a lot easier, Sebas, if you just take the whole attitude of embracing your weirdness rather than hiding it. Because when a radio person tries to hide their weirdness, that's when it comes off phony, you know?
I think you caught onto something pretty interesting there, Hoppe. There's a lot of guys and girls out there who they've got skeletons in their closet. I mean, hell, we're seeing that with all these people coming out with all the sexual, who knew that Dustin Hoffman was masturbating and getting naked in front of 16-year-olds 35 years ago? He hit it well enough, but eventually the truth comes out, I think, is what you're saying.
So you guys are based out of Los Angeles, the home of Hollywood, with all the accusations. Does it ever get old out there? Does the news ever get old, or is it basically a hot topic each day?
Well, I'm glad you used the word hot, because it is most definitely hot right now. Of course, I hate to have to say that that's a joke, but in this, this day and age, you kind of almost have to. It sucks. Yeah, it's a big deal here, like it is everywhere. We've done one of those things that a lot of people, I think, have done, is we did a little pool, like a little betting pool in the office. And that is not to make fun of sexual assault, but to make fun of the fact that there are so many creepy guys out there that it's almost you can't get away with it, or not get away with it. You can't get away from it, I should say. It's just a gross thing, and it's something that I don't know from your personal experience, but I know guys that I've worked with that could definitely fall under some of these. There's definitely guys who, if the status right now, or I should say the threshold right now, is making gross jokes or showing parts of yourself or grabbing and touching and groping, every single person, including myself on my show, has known or knows of guys that have done that, and they're not going to be, because we work in radio, we're not going to be as high profile as, your Dustin Hoffmans and your Louis C.K.'s and so on and so forth. But it's going to come out there, and it goes, the entertainment names get the big buzz or whatever, but it's going to be CEOs and politicians, and I think there was some NFL executive this week who was scrubbing gross conversations he was having on Twitter. So it's going to filter down, and I think, quite frankly, that's a good thing, because if you work with these people and you're around these people, they're gross, disgusting people, and I keep on, not to keep harping on it, but like, you don't, as a guy, you don't necessarily feel that it's your place to say something. So at the same time, you just want to support the women out there that are dealing with this kind of crap.
Here's what I think the issue is, and it's the thing that keeps getting overlooked about everything going on, is the fact that you don't want to be that guy that comes off like a snitch. We obviously all know creeps out there, and we kind of turned a blind eye to it because we're nervous that we might burn a bridge somewhere. So I think that's the biggest issue, is now going on into 2018. The new thing will be, when do you snitch and when do you not? When do you turn a blind eye and when do you say a thing about it? That's what I can't wait to see, is what happens.
That's a good point, and it's because it's not, I think a lot of guys are, like I said, taking the position where it's not our job to say it, but it's our job to back up any women who want to come out with it and let them know that, yeah, we're not going to, cover it up for the dude, just because he may be our boss or someone else's boss. There's a guy that we know right now who we know the woman involved, who, again, not to say anything, but she may or may not work for us. in the past or currently. He may or may not work for us in the past or currently, just not to get out there because you don't want to make accusations and be seen as a dick. You don't want to cause a witch hunt, but we know this woman who was sent gross videos of this dude, Joe, as, masturbating, and she's not to the point where she's, it wasn't like, hey, watch me masturbate or you're going to lose your job, but it was certainly not appropriate for the workplace. And she's told us the story. We know who the guy is. We believe her 100%. And we just let her know, like, hey, it's up to you. Like, if you want to come out with this at some point, it's up, we'll support you. We're not going to, but at the same time, you got to, it's got to be on your timetable if you want to do it. And if not, that's cool too. I mean, we talked about it in our show. There have been women and me, from what I do in our show, I do a lot of field work, a lot of street interviews. And I'm out there, and things happen. People yell at me, people go up and touch or whatever, and that's okay. I'm not a big deal. Like, as a guy, it's not a big deal to me. But certainly, if you're in a more vulnerable position, we want to offer our support there.
You know what I was thinking about the last few months as this has been coming out is it's a weird motion whenever a guy joes. So I don't even know why you would want to have a girl watch it. Whenever I joe, I just feel shame. Like, I just want to get it over with. I have no idea why any dude's like, hey, come watch me Joe. It's a fun motion to watch.
I agree with you. And for folks who don't know, Joe is just short for Joe, which is, of course, short for jerking off. So, yeah, it's. I think the only time I've ever done that in front of a woman was with, my very first girlfriend, and we were kind of it was mostly experimenting. Like, she would do it for me, and I would do it for her, and we kind of figured out that it's just better if we did each other. Like, it was, it wasn't making, like you said, it wasn't making much sense to do it in front of someone else. But a lot of people bring up with the Louis C.K. or the Harvey Weinstein or perhaps the Dustin Hoffman is currently being alleged. They say there's a power dynamic to it, like, oh, I'm making this woman watch me do this. And I buy part of that for sure, but I think it's just that guys are gross and they don't know how to handle themselves sexually, and there's maybe some I don't know, hope or wish that the girl's going to join in if she sees it. Like, they don't process sexuality in 3 dimensions. In other words, they don't process it from the woman's point of view, and they don't, I guess, fully understand. I mean, they understand, but they don't fully maybe appreciate how gross she finds it. And they kind of maybe had this fantasy where, if she sees me doing this, well, something's going to happen. And, it's obviously not the case.
Here's another aspect of it that I just thought about, Sebas. I think it's that a lot of these guys that are being accused of all these different allegations are kind of weird guys. They're kind of antisocial. They're kind of awkward. So I feel like they first begin and they don't know what they're doing with women. So they first begin by joeing in front of them, and then it just keeps going down a worse and darker path. So I think it all begins with the whole idea that these guys never had any game around women, and they're very strange.
I definitely agree. I think that's all gross dudes, and that's part and parcel of them, or they're not understanding, the consensual nature of things. And we played this clip a while back, but there's a Chris Rock monologue from when he hosted SNL in 1996. So this is 21 years ago. Ryan Hoppe was barely a little baby at the time. So Chris Rock's hosting SNL, and at the time, it was the Clarence Thomas and Anita Hill scandal, which I was super young at the time too. So basically what that amounted to, if I could roughly summarize it, is Clarence Thomas, at the time trying to be appointed to the Supreme Court, is then one staff member said that he made jokes about pubic hairs on cokes was one of the big lines. And Chris Rock's joke at the time was, if that was Denzel Washington, it would have been like, oh, Denzel, you nasty. And it would have been flirting and stuff like that. So I think you're right. It's a compounding of gross dudes who don't know how to handle themselves, who then act out, and then you see what we have right now.
You know what I think you guys do such a good job with your show is a lot of shows will talk about this topic for 3 hours, and a lot of shows won't talk about it because they're nervous to talk about it. But what I like what you guys do is you guys begin the show by talking about the news, and you do like a happy mix. You'll go from talking about this topic to the latest in food news to the latest with TV shows. You guys do a very good job of not talking about the same thing and beating a dead horse is what I've noticed.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. And it's about keeping ourselves not bored, you know, and like with stuff like this, it's very easy to go, oh, that's just disgusting, and that's gross, and that's very sad, and not get into it a little bit, you know, and kind of discuss the different angles and parts of it. I mean, I think, and I know a lot of people would disagree with me on this, but I think currently and traditionally, Saturday Night Live has done a real good job in their weekend update, their news segment, of dealing with these hard topics, or unpleasant topics at least, and putting a funny spin on them, because there's always something funny about anything out there. It's just finding it and analyzing it and picking it apart. And yeah, don't be scared to state your real opinion and explain it and have a real discussion about that. And I think that'll help almost anybody.
What is the key when there's not the latest allegation coming out and there's not a lot of breaking news? What is the key to finding breaking news on a slow news day?
Well, Google's always your friend with, Google alerts for stupid stuff. I've got, on my news alerts, I've got separate sections for meth and urination and blood and puking and drunk driving and huffing, stupid stuff. It's always fun to make fun of redneck stuff. But that's also where you can get into other things. Because there are a lot of different shows will, at that time, kind of turn inward. And I think you came from one of those shows when you worked in Cleveland. There's certain talk shows, be they television, radio, whatever, that are more maybe storyline focused and drama focused about, what's going on in the people's lives who are working on the show. And so that's the time to kind of turn into a lot of that stuff as well. But that's a part of the same thing. That's just being observant about your own life and your friends and your coworkers' own lives, just to kind of see what's interesting and relatable about what's going on with you and what's going on with them, and finding ways to have, to make that relatable to the larger audience who probably is or has gone through similar things.
What I think works perfectly for the Woody Show is the fact that you guys believe in yourself, the fact that you guys have confidence in yourself, and you don't need to rag on other people and other shows for material. You guys seem like natural friends that will bust each other's balls, but you do it in a nice way. You know what I mean?
Well, thanks. Yeah, it's definitely that. Even though there are women on the show, I don't mean this in that respect, but it's a busting balls sort of familiarity that's a lot of fun, is if you can give it and get it and take it and so on and so forth, and be honest about yourself and be willing to defend your position and viewpoint. That's definitely to your advantage, because if there are certain topics or aspects about your life that cause you to shut down, that's not going to be to your benefit on a long-form talk show, that's for sure.
Now, even though you guys are sort of with the same age group, has any of them taken you under their wing? Has Woody, Ravy, or Greg Gorey sort of mentored you, or did you kind of go in and you knew what you were doing from the get-go?
Yeah, you're right. We're roughly pretty close. So yeah, no, there's no mentor per se for us. Definitely our youngest cast member is Randy. He's 21. He's local to where we're at, Burbank here in California, and he was a fan of the show. Was an intern for a while. We brought him on as a part-time video editor, and we're definitely helping with this. We noticed that he had questions about this stuff. Hey, how do credit cards work? How to, what do I get somebody for Christmas? My girlfriend wants this. What do I do about that? And so that's kind of beyond being, like you said, taking him under the wing. You take that, observe that he has questions, we turn it into show topics, where he kind of learns with us. And in the past for myself, the guy who probably helped me out, or who was the most directly supportive, is a guy who lives and works in Boston right now for WBCN, named Fred Toucher. He hosts their morning show up there. But he started in Atlanta, and he's, 5 years older than me, but at the time he was in his late 20s, I was in my early 20s, I was his intern, and he was very supportive, helping out, giving advice, probably in ways that he didn't really necessarily intend to be that way, but it just helps being younger. You kind of observe that stuff more, and that's And he was and in fact, the reason he left Atlanta to find a different gig for himself was the company that came in and bought out our radio station at the time was Cumulus, and the then, I believe, the president of programming, like whatever the title was, wanted him to do some like stupid, corny promotions, just these dumb, fake things that were not true to him. And his personality is very gruff, very like sort of an Adam Carolla, rants about stuff, will go off on things, yell and scream in an entertaining way. And he said, no, not doing it. So he was always very much keeping the show real, not faking any bits. We had a guy who came in with some audio that was supposedly from some redneck up in North Georgia, and you could just listen to it. You could tell that the kid, his name is Jeremy, he now works for a different station in Atlanta. You could tell that he had gotten with a friend, and they had staged the whole thing because they were shitty actors. And Fred not only called him out on it, he suspended him. He said, look, dude, I'm not taking this crap on my show. And so while that sort of thing wasn't and by the way, Jeremy's a fine guy, we're friendly, there's nothing wrong with him now, he definitely got that lesson. And so even though he wasn't like taking me under my wing specifically, it was a great piece of observing and kind of learning by direct appreciation of what was going on. So I really appreciate that, and I would definitely hold on to that and advise anybody. Jesus Christ, man, there's so much going on in the world today. There's so many great things to see and do. There's no reason, TV, radio, internet, whatever you're doing, you don't have to say shit.
What I like about what your show does, going back to that topic you just said, is it seems like a lot of times, a lot of shows try to leech onto what you guys are doing by doing like a radio war. And I love that Woody shuts it down each time. He's just like, I'm not doing this. I'm focused on my show, which is what I like. Because it seems like radio wars are very easy and it's very simple radio. And I like the fact that Woody just sort of does not want to do it whatsoever.
Yeah, and the philosophy behind, like, look, wars and fights can be fun and funny. Like, feuds and things can be hilarious if they're done in a funny manner. Anything can. But that is sort of an older, like, 90s, early 2000s style of thinking. And I guess the best example of that is Opie and Anthony versus Howard Stern. And I'm not an expert on that feud by any means, but they were the underdog, and he was obviously the king of the hill. And that's the strategy with anybody. Not just radio, but any time that you are the lesser known, you are the smaller to their bigger, the David to the Goliath. If you can piss them off and get their attention, that's just free advertising for you if they mention you and talk about it. So on one hand, all these other shows will steal our bits and do whatever, and try to start, make comments or whatever, and they just want the publicity, the advertising, and the drama. And look, if it's good drama, I'll be honest, if it's funny and good and interesting, we'll do it. If that's, if the content is interesting. But more often than not, like you said, they're just doing it artificially because they want to get something going. And that's great, but it's not fun for us, It's not the biggest deal in the world for us to do. So we almost in all cases ignore it.
Now, you guys have been adding a bunch of markets recently. What is the key to making each market feel at home as if you guys are in their city? How are you guys doing that? How are you guys approaching that?
Well, you know what, Ryan Hoppe, if you knew the answer to that, I'd be glad to hear it. Because we're still learning, because we're first year-ish so of that. But the thing is, there's a couple things to that. Number one, we're taking up cities where we have history. Woody spent the greatest majority of his adult life in St. Louis, so he goes. His wife's from there. He has family there. It's definitely his first home. Much like with me, if we ever did expand, let's say to Atlanta, it's definitely my first home. Even though I'm home here in LA now. So and Woody moved. We talk about Portland. Woody was up there for a while. And, like, for instance, Albuquerque is one of our great new cities. And we just went out there last weekend, spent a weekend hosting a concert, hosting the meet and greet at a bar, just meeting the people, talking to people. So it's the same formula no matter where you are. Is if you're out there touching, as they say, touching people, not like in the disgusting way. But if you're listening and wanting to learn and talking and replying to emails and texts and tweets and, and honestly caring about people and where they are and what they're doing, what they're up to, it's a no-brainer. You'll be fine. I mean, it's really that simple.
Now, where can people find the show on the radio, and where can they find it on the internet? Where can they find it online?
Well, the easiest way is just go to thewoodyshow.com. You got live streaming there, podcast there, YouTube page, Instagram, everything's there. Or if you're in about the 10 or so cities that we're in, Albuquerque, Dickinson, North Dakota, of all places, Portland, obviously St. Louis, LA, Orange County, Bakersfield, and we're coming up in Indianapolis. And the one we're probably most proud of is American Forces Radio, formerly Armed Forces Network. It's a local to U.S. bases and embassies and consulates programming station. So, like, if you are, in a base in anywhere from Japan to Iraq, they have on-base programming, which is television and radio, and they are based here actually locally in Southern California, so they've heard of us, and they put us on their alternative morning show, basically. So we're on in the mornings no matter where you are around the world if you're with our troops, so that's awesome. But yeah, thewoodyshow.com.
Well, dude, keep up the good work. It was a lot of fun having you on the show, and I listen every day at the gym, so keep up the good work, Sebas.
Well, thanks a lot, Hobby. And can I add this? And I know this is, I got to go actually in a minute here, but here's you getting engaged and you're going to get married. When's that? That's
in about 2 years.
Okay. And yet, how old is she? How old are you?
She's 21. I'm 24.
Okay. Perfectly fine. I'm glad you're in love. But, good God, man. Woody will tell you, he got married young. Greg will tell you he got married young to a woman. By the way, he's a gay man. Unless you really need to, don't rush into anything. That's all I'm saying.
I will take it into a grain of salt. Sounds good?
All right. Thanks a lot for having me, Hobby.
And that was Sebas from the nationally syndicated Woody Show out of Los Angeles, as he called into Hoppe Hour. Now, if you want to hear more of my show, it's not hard. It's not rocket science. All you have to do is get the Hoppe Radio app in the Google Play and iOS shop by searching up Hoppe Radio, Hoppe Radio. There you can listen to my show anywhere in the world, and tweet at me at Ryan Hoppe Radio. This has been Hoppe Hour. I am your host, Ryan Hoppe, signing off.
Hoppe Hour. Hoppe Hour.
Have you heard about the new deal in town? The best deal in Tampa Bay? If you haven't, I'm about to let you know. It's at 4330 North 40th Street, and that's in Tampa Bay, Florida. And here's the deal. Go to Metro PCS today and get 2 lines of unlimited LTE data for just $80. Yeah, that's right. Get 2 lines of unlimited data for just $80. Plus, you can get 2 free awesome smartphones with 32 gigs of memory when you switch, all on the best reliable network. And make sure you don't miss out on this unlimited deal. 2 lines of unlimited LTE data for just $80. Don't wait any longer to take advantage of this great deal. If you go there at 4330 40th Street North in Tampa Bay, Florida, and you tell them that Ryan Hoppe sent you and that you're a listener of Hoppe Hour, they will hook you up. And if there's anything else you want to know, maybe you want to call them real quick while you're driving to Metro PCS, call them at 813-628-8622. That's 813-628-8622. Tell them I sent you, and they will hook you up.